Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
Hey, what's up, everyone? How's it going? We are on episode number 10 of Race to 100.
Race to 100.
I am Rick Storsell.
And I'm Neil Batang. Thank you for tuning in.
And today we are going to be talking about an issue that we touched on a little bit yesterday, but we're going to go into more detail. It's a very different topic, but has a lot of the similar themes. Reparations. So, how would you describe reparations in as simplest terms as possible?
Paying back the oppressed for 400 years of free labor.
It's very good.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's much more complex than that, but to sum it up in the most practical way possible, how do we compensate those for their hundreds of years of hard work, especially when they work for free?
And that is, I think, the core of the issue at hand. And reparations have very loaded terminology. When you say reparations, people have very visceral reactions one way or the other, right? Mm-hmm. What are your takes on reparations as you understand them, as it relates to the black community? Because I guess, just to backtrack a little bit, reparations are nothing new when it comes to more or less compensating people for their work or their hardship or whatever the case may be. You have the example of the Japanese internment, right?
Yes.
That the U.S. government ended up paying reparations to that group of individuals for the hardship that they suffered. So reparations is nothing new when it comes to being practically implicated, but when it comes to the black community, that's like a whole different subject right there.
That unfortunately is swept under the rug more often than none. So, do you know how much percent of the wealth the black community owned before or right after slavery ended in 1865?
1%?
Less than 1%.
Well, less than 1%.
It's 2016.
Yeah.
Do you know how much percent of the wealth that black people own now today?
75%.
Less than 1%.
Still less than 1%.
We've got 3 billionaires. 3 billionaires. So the argument for reparations, the main argument is that it would correct the economic imbalances between races. Mm-hmm. You know, the reason why black people own less of the wealth in this country is because they started from further behind. And the folks that argue in favor of reparations say it will propel them at least closer to those that are ahead of them. That's just one way to put it. My stance, I'm personally not against it. I'm 100% for reparations in some way. What way, shape, or form? That's a little fuzzy. Do you do that in terms of money? Do you give people assets, land? Some people say we're receiving reparations in the form of affirmative action.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of ways to try and
do that. So
justify.
There's no legitimate, one size fits all way of achieving this goal. But I am for it. I'm completely for it. It's something that the U.S. government could do if they put their minds around it.
Wait, this U.S. government right now?
This U.S. government can do anything.
Oh my God.
This U.S. government can do anything. If we can capture Osama bin Laden and almost elect Donald Trump, we can issue reparations to the oppressed for their hundreds of years of free labor.
Dude, the only bill that Congress has passed in the past month was a recognition of magic as a national pastime.
Yeah, that's
true. In regards
true.
to what the government can actually do.
No.
But when it comes down to it, you have the basic fact, and this is the basic fact, that African Americans have been disenfranchised by the historical legacy of slavery in the U.S. You have a divide between blacks and whites, and that was only exacerbated during slavery and then segregation, and then you have racism in its various forms today. People like to say that we've moved beyond that. We're in a post-racial America. But the reality is you can't take it out of context. You can't take the fact that blacks are historically disadvantaged and say, well, that's in the past, that's done. Like, we're settled with that. Everyone's on an equal playing field. We have.
I think what my friend's trying to say, you guys, is that he doesn't feel comfortable saying. So I'll say it for him. We have less power. Why do we have less power? Because we have less money. How do you get some power in this country? Get you some money. Hook us up with some reparations in some way.
See,
in some way,
and
that's what we're getting at. It would definitely solve a lot of the monetary problems we encounter in the black community. Case in point.
Yeah, and so you have different ways that people try to get at what reparations look like, because a lot of the times people who criticize reparations, the idea of reparations, well, what are you going to do? You're just going to like put in a bank load of cash and then go into the inner city and start handing out money? Like, come on, is that your answer?
Did this person go to Glenbard West?
No, they all
They all went to Glenbard West.
Yeah. And
shout out to Glenbard West.
Peace, we love you. Yeah, but that's sort of the throwaway line to disregard it as a actual idea that we can implement is, oh, well, it's not practical. Like, you can't just give people money and expect them to do with it. So what you have right now, and I agree, it can't be as simple as loading up what are those bank trucks called? There's a specific term for that.
Those bank trucks?
Yeah.
My mind's drawing a blank. You're going to have to figure that out.
Whatever. So but as opposed to like flying over Detroit or whatever and just dumping out piles of cash.
Yeah.
Like that is disingenuous. That's not a good argument to make against reparations. It's not practical. Because when it comes down to it, America has engaged in a horrible act, and we've tried in the past to do something about it. Mm-hmm. We have affirmative action. We have instances of the United States apologizing for slavery. You have all of these efforts made to try and heal this gap, but none of it actually gets at the core issue, which I believe has disenfranchised the African American community. And as long as you have that inherent issue, as long as you have that inherent block holding you back, something that's not being able to be fixed by a lot of these superficial, I like to call them band-aids. Yeah. Like, you try to put a band-aid over the problem. You say, okay, we'll increase quotas and we'll make companies hire more African Americans or more women or whatever the case may be, and we'll be good then. We'll be good then. That's not the point. The point is the black community as a whole deserves a better shake than what they get right now. Not just selected individuals from the black community, but the black community as a whole. Yeah. So you have arguments for reparations that go something to the extent of a societal rebuilding. People have thrown out ideas of community activism, and as opposed to directly giving money like the U.S. government did for the Japanese, that you infuse cash into black communities, black cultural.
Yeah. I got you. So instead of investing personally to people, putting money into the communities, teaching people skills and educating them so they can empower themselves and their communities after learning this stuff.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And when it comes down to it, most white people, and I have experienced this from studying politics, don't really think about reparations as a practical thing that can be done.
It is
and so it's dismissed. It's inconceivable, and so it's dismissed. It's thrown away out of hand. Now, there was a great professor, I've mentioned her before, Dr. Jennifer Harvey at Drake University, who she's a white theologian who ended up doing her doctoral work on reparations for the black community and what that would look like in practical terms, like what that would look like on an actual conversation that we have.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a complicated issue, and it's one that's highly charged too, because you have the downside, which you do anything for the black community, what's that going to cause?
How will the other
racism, right?
Yeah, how will the other races react
increase
to it?
resentment towards those that seem to be getting favors, because you have the disproportionate. You have a lot of the white Southerners, for example, who were not necessarily a part of the Civil War, or maybe even a part of slavery. Maybe they were too poor to afford slaves, or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. But you have them looking at that and saying, well, my family didn't really get a leg up. We were poor, we were all that. Mm-hmm. What would how would that be fair to
Why
us
should
in today's
I
age?
didn't own slaves, so why should your family
Exactly.
get an economic boost?
Exactly.
The response is because
Disproportionately
after
negatively.
1865, we had laws called Jim Crow that were systemically put in place to keep those behind. You didn't have to encounter that. It's not fair. I'm not saying, everyone should get their share. I'm not, against others, of different races receiving their profits. But I'm just saying I am for reparations. It's something we can do. This is the U.S. We literally have done anything and everything they didn't imagine us to. So this is something, it is conceivable, contrary to what critics or those who oppose me will say. How we do it, I don't know. But we can make it happen if we really want to.
So what do you guys think? Do you believe that reparations should take place? Do you believe that it should take one form or another? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Continue the conversation from this. This is only the start. Do you have anything else to add?
Make sure you like, comment, or subscribe to our videos if you want some more awesome content. We've been talking about great topics of conversation. People seem to really be enjoying what we do, and we love your feedback, so make sure to tune in some more.
And we will catch you next time on the Race to 100.